Hi, Army. It's me, Taehyung. It's been a while, hasn't it? There's something I've been keeping inside for a long time. Something I never really had the courage to say out loud until now. For years, I've stood on stage, smiling, singing, performing like everything was perfect. And most of the time, it really was. The cheers, the lights, the love it all felt unreal. But behind that, there were nights I'd come home and just sit alone in the dark. No cameras, no noise, just me and my thoughts. I remember thinking, how long can I keep living like this? How long can I keep smiling for the world while I'm still searching for my own peace? I think fame is beautiful, but it's also heavy. People see the stage, but they don't see the silence after it. And sometimes that silence gets so loud that you start to hear parts of yourself you've been ignoring. I used to ask myself, what does happiness mean for me? Is it the music? Is it the fans? Or is it just being able to wake up next to someone who knows me not as Taehyung from BTS, but as Kim Taehyung, the ordinary guy who forgets where he put his phone every morning? Maybe that's when I started realizing something had changed inside me. I wasn't just performing for love anymore. I was longing for it. I know what you might be thinking right now. Taehyung, are you okay? Yes, Army, I'm okay. Actually, I'm more than okay. There's someone who walked into my life quietly, without any spotlight, without any expectations. She didn't come to me because of fame. She came to me when I was just me. And little by little, she reminded me what warmth feels like again. I didn't plan it. I didn't expect it. But love, it doesn't wait for the perfect time. It just happens. At first, I was scared. Scared of what people would say. Scared of how the world might react. Because when your life is always under a camera, even something as pure as love becomes a story for everyone else to judge. But she told me something one night that I'll never forget. She said, "You don't have to be perfect with me. Just be Taehyung." And that was the first time in a long time I felt free. I've always said I want Army to be happy, but I realized I can't make you truly happy if I'm not honest with myself first. And being honest means telling you this part of my life too, the part I've kept quiet for years. I didn't want to surprise you. I didn't want rumors or headlines to tell the story for me. That's why I'm sitting here now, speaking directly to you. This isn't about fame or image or anything the world expects from me. This is about life, about growing up, about choosing to love even when it's hard. I'm saying this now because I want you to hear it from me, not from anyone else. I want you to feel the truth, not the noise. I'm still the same Taehyung, the one who laughs too loud, the one who loves his dog more than he probably should, the one who still gets nervous before every performance. But this Taehyung, he is learning to love not just the world, but one person deeply, and that's where my story begins. I used to think marriage was something far away, something for other people, not for someone like me. Because in this life, everything moves so fast. One day you're just a trainee dreaming about debut, and the next, you're standing in front of thousands of people smiling like you've already figured it all out. But the truth is, I hadn't figured out anything There were times when I'd look at my parents and wonder, how did they do it? How did they stay together through everything, through every fight, every misunderstanding, every long night? I wanted to understand that kind of love, the kind that doesn't fade when the lights go out. The turning point for me, it wasn't some big event or dramatic moment. It was something small, something quiet. One night, I came home after a long day of work. I was exhausted. My head was spinning from the noise, the lights, the pressure. And when I opened my door, she was there. Not waiting with grand words or anything fancy. Just sitting there, wearing one of my oversized shirts, humming softly to a song I wrote months ago. She looked up, smiled, and said, "Welcome home, Taehyung." I don't know why, but those two words, "welcome home," hit me harder than any applause ever could. Because in that moment, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. It was like the world finally slowed down. For once, I didn't have to perform. I didn't have to hide behind smiles or worry about headlines. I could just breathe. That night, we didn't talk much. We just sat there in silence, sharing warmth. And I realized something: love doesn't always need grand gestures. Sometimes it's the simple moments that remind you where your heart belongs. After that, I started to notice how she moved through my life quietly, like she had always been there. When I was too busy to eat, she'd bring food without saying a word. When I was stressed, she'd sit beside me, not trying to fix anything, just staying. She didn't need to be part of my stage. She just wanted to be part of my world. And one morning, I woke up and thought, if this is what forever feels like, I want it. I didn't tell anyone, not my members, not my parents, not even my manager. I kept it inside for months because I wanted to be sure that this feeling wasn't just loneliness, but real love. Then, one day, she asked me something that changed everything. We were walking in a park, no disguise, no cameras, just the two of us. She stopped, looked at me, and said, "Do you think you'll ever get tired of being loved by me?" I laughed at first, but then she looked serious, and I realized what she was really asking. She wasn't asking for reassurance. She was asking if I was ready to build a life, not just share moments. And right then I knew I was ready. Ready to love without fear. Ready to protect something even when it's fragile. Ready to let go of the version of myself that lived only for the stage and start living for something deeper. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what it would mean to stand before her, not as an idol, not as someone the world knows, but just as Taehyung, the man who's ready to choose her again and again every day. And maybe that's what marriage really means. It's not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing love even when life gets hard. So yeah, that's when I realized I wasn't afraid anymore. For the first time, I wasn't thinking about fans or fame or fear. I was thinking about the future, our future. One of the hardest things for me wasn't falling in love. It was telling the people who've been beside me through everything, my members. They've seen every version of me: the quiet one, the loud one, the lost one, the playful one. They've seen me at my best and at my absolute worst. So when I realized this wasn't just a passing feeling, when I knew I was really truly in love, I started thinking, how do I tell them? It took me weeks. I kept imagining how they'd react. Would they tease me? Would they stay quiet? Would they think I was rushing things? One night, after practice, we were sitting around in the studio, everyone tired, laughing about something stupid. Namjoon was talking about a new book he was reading, Jungkook was playing with the piano, and Jimin was trying to convince us to order chicken again. And I don't know why, but in the middle of all that noise, I just said it. I think I'm going to marry her. The room went silent. No one said anything for a good 5 seconds. Then Yoongi looked up from his phone and said, "Wait, you're serious?" I nodded. They all looked at me not like BTS looking at V, but like brothers trying to read if this was a joke or the truth. And when they realized I wasn't joking, something in the air changed. There was no teasing, no laughter, just quiet understanding. Namjoon leaned back and said, "I've seen the way you talk about her. You're not the same anymore. You're calmer." Jimin smiled and said softly, "I knew it. You've been different lately, happier." Jungkook started laughing, trying to hide how emotional he looked. "Hyung, you're really doing this, huh?" And then Hobi-hyung said something I'll never forget. He said, "If she makes you feel like home, don't ever let her go." That night we didn't talk about music or tours or anything related to the stage. We just talked about life, about what it means to grow up, to love, to let yourself be vulnerable even when millions are watching. Yoongi said something that stuck with me too. He said, "People might not understand right away, but love isn't something you owe the world an explanation for. It's something you owe yourself." And that hit deep because for so long I thought I had to ask permission to be happy. Permission from fans, from the world, from this image I built since I was 19. But that night, sitting there with my brothers, I realized I didn't need permission. I just needed honesty. After that talk, everything felt lighter. We laughed again. Jungkook started imitating my in-love face. Jinhyung joked that he wanted to be the MC at my wedding, and Jimin offered to sing, which of course everyone agreed to immediately. But behind all the laughter, I saw how genuine their support was. They weren't just my members anymore. They were my family, and they were happy that I had found someone who gave me peace. Later that night, Namjoon texted me something simple. He said, "Don't forget who you are, but don't be afraid to become someone new too." And line, that one line stayed with me because I knew I was stepping into a new chapter. Not as an idol, not as V from BTS, but as Kim Taehyung, a man in love, ready to start his own story. And I felt proud, not just of myself, but of the people around me who made it possible for me to love fearlessly. Telling my family, that was a different kind of fear. You know, my parents, they've always been my quiet strength. They never asked for much, never pressured me, even when the world did. But when it came to love, to marriage, I didn't know how they'd take it. Not because I thought they'd be angry, but because deep down I still felt like their little boy, the one who used to play guitar in his room, dreaming about the stage, not the one planning to get married. I remember the day clearly. It was one of those slow afternoons when I finally had time to visit home. Mom was cooking, Dad was reading the newspaper, and Yontan was running around like he owned the place. It felt warm, peaceful, After lunch, I sat down with them, and for a few minutes, I couldn't say anything. I just looked at them and realized how much time had passed, how much they'd sacrificed so I could live this life. Then I finally said it. Mom, Dad, there's someone I want to spend my life with. Mom froze. Dad looked up slowly. For a second, no one spoke. I could hear the clock ticking. My heart was racing faster than it does before a concert. Then Mom smiled, that small, soft smile I've known my whole life. She said, I already knew. I was shocked. You did? She nodded. A mother always knows. You've been smiling differently these days. And that's when I realized she'd seen through everything. Even when I thought I was hiding it well, she'd noticed the small changes. The way I talked, the way I looked at my phone, the way I hummed love songs under my breath. Then she asked me something serious. Does she make you feel at peace, Taehyung? I didn't even have to think. Yes, I said, more than anyone ever has. Mom took my hand and said, then marry her, but promise me one thing, love her the way you'd want to be loved. Dad stayed quiet for a while. He just looked at me with that same calm face he's always had. Then he said, a man's real strength isn't in how loud he speaks, but how gentle he loves. That one sentence I'll never forget. He wasn't the kind of dad who said a lot, but when he did, his words stayed with me. He just patted my shoulder, smiled faintly, and said, I'm proud of you, son. It's time you build your own home. After that, Mom started crying. Not the kind of sad cry, it was something else. A mix of pride, nostalgia, and that quiet ache every parent feels when their child finally grows up. She said, you'll always be my little boy, but now you'll also be someone's husband. Take care of her, Taehyung. And I hugged her tighter than I had in years. In that moment, I realized something. Love doesn't just belong to two people. It's something that connects families, memories, generations. When I left that day, my mom slipped something into my hand, a small silver ring. It wasn't fancy. It was the ring my dad gave her when they got married. She said, you don't have to use it, but keep it with you. It's a reminder that love doesn't have to be perfect to last. I remember driving back to Seoul with that ring in my pocket, the sun setting behind me. I felt calm. For the first time, everything felt right. Because my family, the people who made me who I am, they accepted the man I was becoming. Not the idol, not the star. Taehyung ARMY, that was the hardest part. Not because I doubted your love, but because I didn't want to hurt you. For years, you've been my reason to smile. Every performance, every song, every moment on stage, I always looked for you. You were my mirror, my heartbeat, my comfort in every lonely night. So when I realized I was ready to get married, I kept asking myself, how do I say this without breaking someone's heart? There's no easy way, no perfect words. Because the truth is, no matter how much I tried to prepare myself, I knew that part of you might feel like you were losing me. But I want you to know something, and I want you to hear it from me, not from rumors, not from headlines. You're not losing me. You've never lost me. I'm still here. Still the same Taehyung who gets nervous before performing, who laughs at his own bad jokes, who still gets emotional when he hears ARMY singing along. Marriage doesn't mean goodbye. It means growing. It means learning to love even more in new ways. The night before I made the announcement, I couldn't sleep. I sat by my window looking at the city lights, and I thought about all the years we've shared together. From the first time I said, "I love you, Army," to every tear you wiped away with your messages, to every smile you gave me when I needed strength. You've been with me through everything. And that's why you deserve the truth. Not a secret, not a surprise, but honesty. So when I finally stood in front of the camera, I took a deep breath and told myself, just speak from the heart, Taehyung. I remember the silence before I spoke, how heavy it felt, but the moment I said the words, "I'm getting married," something inside me broke and healed at the same time. Because I could finally stop hiding. I could finally share the real me, the me who loves, who chooses, who wants to live honestly. There were tears that day from me, from the people around me, and from Army who watched with mixed emotions. But what touched me most were the messages that came after. Some said, "Taehyung, we're happy for you." Others said, "Thank you for trusting us with your heart." Those words, they meant everything. They reminded me that the bond we built isn't just between artist and fan. It's between people who've grown together, who've laughed, cried, and healed through music and time. That night, after everything went public, I read messages from ARMY all over the world. Some were crying, some were joking, some said they felt like watching a son, a brother, a friend finding happiness. And I realized that's exactly what this is. It's not an ending, it's a transition from one kind of love to another. You see, ARMY, you taught me how to love unconditionally, how to give without expecting anything back. And that's the same love I want to bring into my marriage. I didn't fall in love to escape my life as Taehyung from BTS. I fell in love because I wanted to live that life more fully. Because love, real love, doesn't take away from who you are, it makes you more of who you're meant to be. When I finally pressed upload on that announcement, I sat there quietly, hands shaking, heart pounding. But for the first time in a long time, I felt peace because I wasn't hiding anymore. Because I knew that even if some people needed time to understand, the love between me and ARMY was strong enough to survive anything. And if you're listening to this right now, I just want to say thank you for staying, for growing with me, for letting me live not just as your idol, but as a man who's finally found his own version of happiness. When I look back on everything, the years, the laughter, the tears, the noise, the silence, I realized that love has always been there. It just changes shape as I grew. When I was younger, love meant the rush of applause, the connection with fans, the joy of knowing my voice could comfort someone miles away. But now, love feels different. It's quieter. It's in the way someone waits for you to come home. It's in the way they look at you when you're not saying anything at all. It's in the peace that fills the room when you finally stop pretending to be strong. There was a time when I thought love had to be loud, full of words, full of gestures. But now I know the real kind of love doesn't need an audience. It just needs honesty. Marriage isn't the end of my story. It's the continuation of a journey that started the moment I learned to love myself. And ARMY, you were the first ones who taught me how to do that. You showed me that it's okay to be vulnerable, that even the strongest hearts need rest, that even under the brightest lights, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. You loved me when I was at my best, and even more when I was at my lowest. You saw past the image, the fame, the perfection. You saw me, and that kind of love, I'll carry it with me forever. Sometimes people ask me, Taehyung, aren't you afraid that things will change? And I always smile and say, they already have, and that's okay. Because change is a sign of life. It's proof that we're still growing, still feeling, still human. Love doesn't take away the person you were, it helps you become who you were meant to be. And if I've learned anything from all of this, it's that love, real love, doesn't need to shout to be heard. It speaks softly through actions, through presence, through understanding. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe it'll be quiet, maybe it'll be loud, maybe it'll take me far away again, or maybe it'll bring me back home. But wherever I go, I'll carry all of you with me. Because ARMY isn't just my audience. You're a part of my life story. The part that made me brave enough to love honestly. So, if one day you see me walking hand in hand with someone I love, don't think of it as losing me. Think of it as watching someone you helped grow finally find peace. Because every smile I have now, every piece of happiness I hold, you helped me earn it. Thank you for loving me even when I couldn't say everything, for staying even when you were confused, for growing with me, for letting me be more than just an artist. You've seen me as a boy with dreams, as a man finding his way, and now as someone learning what forever truly means. And I promise this isn't goodbye. It's just another beginning. I'll still sing. I'll still write. I'll still tell stories that carry a piece of my heart and yours. Because you're not just part of my past. You're part of who I'll always be. Love, to me now, isn't about the stage or the fame or the applause. It's about presence. It's about peace. It's about truth. And as long as I have that, as long as I have you, I'll keep walking forward, grateful for the love that made me who I am today. It's strange, how one announcement can change everything. For days after I shared my truth, the world felt louder than ever. Headlines, messages, opinions, so many voices, some warm, some harsh, all trying to understand what this meant for me, for us, for ARMY. At first, I tried to read everything, every message, every word. But soon I realized something. Peace isn't found in noise. It's found in stillness. So I turned off my phone, made some tea, and just sat there. For the first time in a long time, the quiet didn't scare me. It comforted me because even in silence, I could still feel you. I could feel your love, not as a crowd shouting my name, but as a gentle presence, like the warmth of sunlight through a window. That's when I knew things hadn't changed as much as people thought. Yes, I'm married now. Yes, life looks different. But the heart inside me, the one that beats for music, for art, for connection, it's still the same. Sometimes I still wake up before dawn, sit by my piano, and start playing something soft, melodies that remind me of you. Because ARMY, you're still my muse. You're the echo that never fades. When I walk down the street now, hand in hand with someone who knows my soul, I still think of how far I've come, how far we've come. You taught me how to share my heart. She taught me how to rest it. And together, both of those loves, they made me whole. There are days when I miss the stage lights, the rush of adrenaline, the sound of thousands of voices becoming one. But I've learned to find that same magic in quieter moments, like laughter over dinner, or Yontan falling asleep on my lap, or watching the sky turn gold over Seoul. Sometimes people ask, do you miss who you were before? And I always say, no, I just carry him with me. Because the boy who dreamed, the man who performed, the artist who loved his fans, he's still here. He just found another way to smile. To be honest, love hasn't made me less of an artist. It's made me more human, more honest, more real. When I write now, my words aren't just about heartbreak or longing. They're about peace, about finding beauty in the ordinary, about loving the life you've built even when it's imperfect. And if you ever wonder what I feel for you now, the answer is simple. Gratitude. Because none of this, the courage, the healing, the peace, would have happened without you. You didn't just watch me grow, ARMY. You helped me grow. You gave me the strength to choose honesty over image, truth over fear, love over perfection. So even now, as I step into this new chapter, I carry you with me. In every note I sing, in every smile I share, in every quiet morning, when I remind myself how lucky I am to have lived this life with you in it. I don't know what the future holds, but I do know this: wherever life takes me, the love we built will never fade. It's not goodbye. It never was. It's simply love growing in a different form. If I could say one last thing to you, I'd say thank you. Not the kind of thank you that celebrities say in interviews, but the kind that comes from somewhere deep, from every sleepless night, every tear, every smile you gave me through the screen. When I look back, I realize my entire life has been built on moments shared with you. Moments that no camera could ever truly capture. There were days when I felt small. Days when the weight of the world pressed too hard on my shoulders. But somehow, through all of it, you never let me forget who I was. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You saw beauty in my flaws. You loved me not because I was perfect, but because I was trying. And that kind of love, it doesn't fade with time. It becomes part of who you are. Sometimes I think about the younger me, the boy who stood backstage, heart racing, praying that people would see him for who he truly was. I think about how scared he was, how unsure, and then I think about you, how you took his hand and said, "It's okay, Taehyung, just be yourself." You have no idea how much that changed everything. Even now, as I start this new chapter, as a husband, as someone who's still learning what it means to love and be loved, I carry your words with me. They're in every heartbeat, in every quiet moment when I close my eyes and whisper, "Thank you for staying." I don't know what life will look like 10 years from now. Maybe I'll be sitting on a porch somewhere with Yontan sleeping beside me, watching the sunset. Maybe I'll still be writing songs, or maybe I'll just be humming them quietly for the people I love most. But no matter where I am, a part of me will always belong to you. To the army who grew up with me, who laughed, cried, dreamed, and healed with me. You are not just my fans, you're my story. You're the reason this journey meant something. When the lights fade and the world finally grows quiet, there's a soft echo that lingers inside me. The echo of your voices, of every I love you, Taehyung, whispered from every corner of the world. That sound has lived with me for years. It's the rhythm of my heartbeat, the comfort I turn to when I'm alone. As I sit here tonight, I think about everything we've been through together, from those tiny rehearsal rooms to arenas filled with purple light, to the quiet days when I didn't know what would come next. You were always there. I remember the first time I felt your love. It wasn't at a concert. It was through a message, a few simple words that said, "Your music makes my days brighter." I still hold on to that because that's when I realized music isn't just sound. It's a bridge between my soul and yours. I've made mistakes along the way. I've had moments of doubt, moments when the spotlight felt too bright and I wanted to disappear. But every time I looked up, I saw you waiting for me, not with judgment, but with patience. You never asked me to be perfect. You just wanted me to be real. That's the kind of love that changes a person forever. Now, as I move into a new chapter of my life, I find myself thinking about the meaning of love, not just romantic love, but the kind that endures quietly, through distance, through time, through silence. The kind of love that Army has given me, it's not loud anymore. It doesn't need to be shouted. It's just there, steady, constant, alive. Some people might think that marriage means the end of something, that an idol can't belong to his fans the same way anymore. But that's not true, because love doesn't divide, it multiplies. The love I've found now has only made my heart bigger, more capable of understanding, more capable of giving. There are days when I walk through the city and no one notices me. No stage, no cameras, no makeup, just me, a man who has lived many lives. And in those quiet walks, I think about Army. I think about how lucky I am that millions of hearts once beat alongside mine. I whisper thank you to the wind, hoping somehow you feel it. I've realized that fame fades, but connection doesn't. The moments we shared are carved into time. They'll outlive the noise, the headlines, the trends, because what we built was never about popularity. It was about understanding, about seeing each other without words. You know, people always ask me what happiness means, and I've thought about it a lot. For me, happiness isn't in the big achievements. It's in the quiet mornings, in Yontan's tiny footsteps, in the smile of the person I love, in the laughter of my friends, and in knowing that somewhere out there, Army is doing well, living, healing, growing. That's all I could ever hope for. If you ever feel lonely, I want you to remember something. We're still connected. You can still close your eyes, listen to a song we shared, and feel me right there beside you. Because that's what music does. It keeps souls intertwined, even when miles apart. I don't know what the next years will bring. Maybe I'll return to the stage someday. Maybe I'll create quietly behind the scenes. But whatever happens, please know that I'll always carry ARMY inside my heart. Every melody I write, every line I sing will have traces of you in it. You've been my beginning, and somehow you'll also be part of my forever. When you miss me, look up at the night sky, see that one bright star? That's me smiling, hoping you're safe and happy. And when I miss you, I'll do the same. Thank you for growing up with me, for letting me be both Kim Taehyung and V, the man and the dream. You gave both versions of me the same love, and that's something I'll never forget. Life moves on, but love remains. So even when the world changes, even when years pass, our connection will always be alive, like a gentle hum beneath everything else. So this isn't goodbye. It's just another way of saying see you soon. Take care of yourselves, keep your heart soft, and never stop believing in the small miracles around you, because that's what you taught me, that love is in the details, in the everyday moments, in the way we choose kindness again and again. I love you, Army, more than you ever know. Thank you for being my reason, my light, my forever home. Until we meet again, in a song, in a dream, or in another lifetime, please remember this. I am grateful for you. Always, Kim Taehyung.